How's everybody doing today? Today I'm going to just go over a video which gives you some homework hints for the Wage Calculator Revisited homework. This is kind of a remake of our previous Wage Calculator homework, so you can start with that one. If you remember, you used if statements in that one, and based on the level, the people would get a certain rate of pay, and then we took that and multiplied it by their hours, and we got their total pay. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. What you have to do, it says reprogram the calculate pay button so it takes into account overtime. So I just wanted to make sure that you know how to calculate overtime in your head, because if you can't do it on paper, you can't write a program for it. So let's take a look at that. I got 3 different examples here. Again, we're just assuming I could be level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like your last homework. In example 1, let's say I have a level 1 person who works 30 hours. Well, if they work 30 hours, they didn't get any overtime at all. So it's pretty simple. They're a level 1, so they make $8 an hour. So I take 8 times 30 equals $240. Let's take a look at another example. Let's say I'm a level 2 person and I worked 42 hours. Well, if I'm level 2, I get $10 an hour. So here's one where you will have to take into account overtime. The way you do overtime is they always get their first 40 hours at their regular rate. So no matter how many hours they work, they still get the first 40 hours at their regular rate. So this person, 40 hours times $10 an hour, that gives them 400, but then they get extra. They had 2 extra hours. Now for your extra hours, you can always look at the total hours you worked minus 40. So if I take 42 minus 40, I get my 2 extra hours. The extra hours they get at time and a half. So I need to take 10, my regular rate, times 1.5, and that gives me $15 an hour. So I've got 2 extra hours at $15 an hour. That gives me 30. So I would say my regular time, I got my regular rate, that was 400. My overtime hours are worth 30. So my total pay that week was $430. Let's take a look at a third example. Let's say I'm a level 3 person who works 50 hours. Again, doesn't matter how long they work. They get their first 40 hours at their regular rate. Since this person's a level 3, they're making $12 an hour. If I take 40 times 12, I get $480. That's my regular pay. Take total hours. How many did I work total? 50 hours minus 40. That gives me 10 extra hours overtime. But instead of getting my rate of 12 times 1.5 is 18. So I get my extra 10 hours at 18. That's another 180. I take my 480 plus my 180, gives me 660. Now, when you program this, you have to come up with a way to make it work for everybody, whether they work 10 hours or 50 hours or 60 hours. It should work for everybody. Think about if statements, how you could put those together. Probably one condition you're going to have in one of your if statements is if hours less than 40, something like that. The idea here is, hopefully now you understand how to do this on paper. Once you get that down, the idea is you can put it into a program. Alright, I want to go back to the homework and take a look at what else we have. The other thing I'm asking you to do here is a type of error checking where you use a try-catch block. So I don't want you to crash the program if the user gives us incorrect information. I'm going to bring up a program which is available to you in the download, and we'll take a look at that. This program is called Catch Exception, and what happens is if I take a look at the form, there's actually 2 different buttons, and they calculate the movie price. One of these buttons does not have a catch exception, so if I run it with misinformation, then the program will crash. The other one has a catch exception clause in here. So let me just show you the code. It's pretty straightforward code. I've got movie price, I've got int age. I take the value of the text box, put it into the variable. I've got a couple if statements. If int age less than 12, then int movie price equals 8. If int age greater than 12, then int movie price equals 10. And then I take that value of that variable and I put it into my label. So if I run this, comes up, I enter my age, I say, well, I'm 5 years old, so I calculate movie price, it tells me 8. I say, well, I'm 55 years old, it tells me 10. But if I give it information like, let's say I type in 10, I don't realize it needs a number. I go to calculate my movie price and my program will crash at this point. So it's going to crash. Almost always when we are taking information from a text box and putting it into a variable, if we have the wrong information in the text box, that's when the program crashes. Notice it stopped at this line. I'm going to get out of this crash. What I wanted to show you is the code below here in my other button. It's pretty much the same code, but it has a catch exception. So the program won't crash if the user gives it bad data. Notice I did the same thing above. I dimmed int movie price, I dimmed int age. I took the information from the text box, put it into int age. If int age is less than 12, movie price is 8. Int age is greater than 12, movie price is 10. What happens though, I have a try, catch, end try clause in here. In Visual Basic, that means, hey, try this code. If something happens that crashes the program, instead of crashing the program, go down to the catch part and execute this code. And the end try just signifies that's the end of this little try catch. So what's great about this is if I run it and I put in regular old data, like 5, I use this button, it works just like it did before. If I put in 55, I should get $10 movie price. But the great thing about this button, if I give it information that my program's not set up for, I hit this, instead of crashing, it says, oh, you must enter a number for age. And it clears this box. It puts it in red to get my attention. And then I put in what I should have. I hit calculate movie price and everything works. So it's just another way to catch errors in your programs. We went over a lot of error checking methods in the previous video. This is just another one. I'm going to go back to this homework one more time just to kind of show you all the different error checking I'm looking for you to use. I do want you to use a try catch block, and you're going to use that pretty much around all your code. Catching errors, the other thing I want you to do is verify that the date field is a valid date. Is up here you're going to have date, name, level, hours worked. Verify that the name field is not empty. Verify that level is an integer between 1 and 5. And verify that hours worked is an integer between 0 and 100. What you're going to realize with this program is the code to test all the data is probably going to be as long as the code, or close to as long as the code, to write the program. So testing data winds up being a very important and, code intensive part of the program. So hopefully everybody understands what's going on with this homework now. The other thing is I ask you to use input boxes to prompt the users if they entered the wrong information. So like in the video we looked at before, if they give me a date that isn't valid, don't just leave them hanging. Use an input box. Remember, the great thing about an input box is you can tell them what they did wrong, and you offer them an opportunity to enter the correct information. Anyhow, hopefully this explains everything. Hopefully people won't have any trouble with this one. It is a little trickier as we go on. Things do get trickier. So good luck with it. See you next time.